Azazel, a supervillain of the Marvel Universe, was the chieftain of an unholy mutant group called the Neophem. Having a prehensile appendage located at the back of his body, he had several other monstrous physical attributes. He claimed himself to be among the earliest of the mutants residing on Earth. Because of Azazel's destructive vision of the eradication of the human race, the rivalry between the team of X-Men having opposing perspectives grew drastically. Seeking world domination, Azazel opted for immoral tactics to achieve his mission. His gluttony even made him stop to the level of using his children for the foundation of his dictatorship over the world. So, in today's video, we are going to explore the multiple hateful expeditions of this avaricious mutant. So, gear up to learn in great depth about this evil mutant closely as we move forward. But before we go into our explanation, however, we do have just one very small request. If you like our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is just a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thanks! Now, let's begin. Azazel Origins, a devilish-looking, terrifying mutant. Azazel made his first and foremost appearance in the comic book series Uncanny X-Men, created by Chuck Austen and Sean Phillips during the Draco plot. Owing to the accounts of Azazel's presence since biblical times around 9000 BC, he was regarded as one of the oldest known mutants alive on the surface of Earth, a blood-red-skinned supervillain mutant having pointed ears, sharp teeth, and soul-piercing eyes. Azazel looked really gruesome. He had a conspicuous scar on his face stretching from his forehead to the edge of his eyes on his left cheek. As the ruler of the fiendish tribe of early mutants called the Neophem, he inhabited the island of the Isla Desdemonas in the Caribbean Sea. Azazel was an ardent preacher and follower of the thesis of mutant tyranny. Marvelous story arc of Azazel, the banishment of the evil mutant. In the opinion of Azazel, he, along with his tribe, was among the pioneer mutant races residing on Earth. They belonged to a sinful group of mutants from the biblical period called the Neophem, known for their devilish characteristics. They often came to blows with the other group of seraphic mutants called the Seraphim, who were strong believers in moral absolutism, and because of the contradictory traits of these two mutant groups, they were traditional enemies of one another. The Neophem were led by the malevolent Azazel, who considered the mortal race of humans to be oddballs and attempted to enslave them. A conflict emerged between the tribe of the sinful Neophem and the righteous Cherafim, where the latter came out triumphant. The result is the expulsion of Azazel, along with his Neophem followers, into an alternate realm called the Brimstone dimension. As a consequence of the tussle, they got imprisoned there, remaining secluded in a timeless jailhouse for decades. Azazel's unethical means to attain freedom. Throughout the centuries, Azazel learned more about the dimension when he was trapped out there and figured out ways to influence its energies using his powers. With the effective usage of his transportation powers, he opened small portals by generating a heavy, intense stream of energy. Eventually, he succeeded in returning to Earth, enabling him to move across dimensions on fleeting opportunities under the guise of a human. But it didn't take long for him to realize that his power solely would not be enough to escape this alternate dimension permanently. So, he hatched a plan to liberate himself in perpetuity from the perennial prison. During these trespasses, Azazel mesmerized multiple women and eventually impregnated them in the long run as a key role in his plan. These offspring inherited his teleportation powers from him, with Nightcrawler being among them. Intending to use his children's combined teleportation powers, Azazel planned to return to Earth and seize total control of it, as he had always desired. With the ability to share a genetic and mental connection with his offspring, he tried to control their minds by manipulating their minds using his sire bond. Azazel assembled them into a single place. It was the place of his banishment called the Isla Desdemonas. He exploited their merged teleportation powers to force open an aperture to the Brimstone dimension. But the team of X-Men arrived at the moment and interfered to stop his act of teleportation, causing an obstruction. An intense battle then ensued, resulting in the entrapment of both forces in an alternate reality of the Brimstone dimension. Upon entering the Brimstone dimension, as the gateway got shut, Azazel tortured the X-Men, pretending to be the real Satan. And soon after, the X-Men's Polaris, accompanied by Abyss, managed to re-enter Azazel's dimension and successfully released everyone trapped inside except Azazel. The X-Men ultimately knocked Azazel down, sending him into an unknown oblivion. For several years, Azazel remained in secrecy, but he marked his comeback accompanied by a few bamfs of similar characteristics. He also revealed himself to be the Lord of Calcabrina, a witch who led the murder circus on Earth. She was banned from all the versions of hell and garnered souls for Azazel. Nightcrawler and Azazel's relationship disclosed. The X-Men comics of the Marvel Universe were full of unexpected twists. The astonishing disclosure of Bloodline made the storylines heavily engaging. Mystique, also known as Raven Darkholm, met Azazel in Germany as a business partner of her husband. She was married to Baron Christian Wagner, who is the rich owner of a castle in the Bavarian Alps. Despite being committed, Mystique slowly fell in love with Azazel. Although she felt guilty, Raven engaged in an extramarital affair with him, betraying her husband. And soon afterwards, Mystique became pregnant with Azazel's Nephem son, Nightcrawler. While pregnant, Mystique transformed into her horrendous original blue entity and was thus thrown out of the castle. To hide her love affair from the local townsfolk, she killed Baron Wagner, since he was known to be infertile. In the meanwhile, Azazel got hints of the rival group of Cherafem chasing him. Azazel got afraid of the thought of getting his love interest Mystique and their unborn offspring killed by them on getting tracked down. So he took the painful decision of parting ways with them, holding immense grief as he truly fell in love with Mystique with the advent of time. To alleviate the pain of separation for Mystique, he painted a false impression of having used her as a casual tool. Believing in Mystique's capabilities to survive on her own and take care of her son, he abandoned them. But eventually, as Nightcrawler was born, he got deserted by his biological mother, Mystique, and got adopted by another family. In the Draco storyline of the Uncanny X-Men, written by Chuck Austen, Nightcrawler was hypnotized into traveling to the Isla Desdemonas. He was then coerced to use his powers combined with other similarly controlled mutants to open a gateway to their father Azazel's dimension. Once they entered the alternative realm, they were taken aback as Azazel revealed his true identity of being their father. This showed Azazel's awful disposition of becoming a father to many children with the disgusting sole intention of simply misusing them as toys in order to free himself from the Brimstone dimension. Azazel's satanic resemblance. Mephisto had once blatantly declared that Azazel retained immeasurable strength and power, which even exceeded some of those truly vigorous demons. Azazel's noxious deeds gave an insight into such allegations. In one instance, Azazel even confessed having won a battle with Mephisto and other villains earlier to achieve the title of Satan. The deadly story of this wicked mutant throughout the course of his rapacious motives had allegedly formed the basis of the human idea of the devil and hell itself. His vast knowledge of diverse dark magic spells and the practice of black sorcery marked the hallmarks of his satanic resemblance. Azazel helped the Weapon X Force. William Stryker, a defense officer of the American Military Service, occupied a superior position in the Weapon X program. Motivated by fierce hatred towards the mutant race, he was totally unsympathetic towards them. He worked relentlessly leading an army called the Purifiers in their genocidal mission to eradicate the mutants since times immemorial. William Stryker approached satanic measures and got involved in the ritual of dark magic to attain his anti-mutant indoctrination. With the help of his new follower, Mentallo's ability to control the minds of the mutants, they brainwashed innumerable mutants to serve as sacrifices to William's cult. Allured by Monette, the team of Weapon X Force was misled into the cult. Upon arrival, they exempted the captivated mutants along with Monette, who was only a victim of Mentallo's brainwashing. Despite seemingly defeating William's troops, the team of Weapon X Force found William to be a tough nut to crack. The mutants' army and the Weapon X Force unanimously attacked William, leading to his downfall after successfully killing him, but he pledged to mark his comeback soon, gloating about his Hell Pact. The Weapon X Force then sought the help of Azazel and embarked on the journey to the Abyss to conquer William in his ultimate defeat. When Sabretooth became dubious of Azazel helping them, the rest of the hidden Weapon X Force members ambushed Azazel to force him into teleporting them to William's hideout in Hell. On getting bombarded with sudden assault, Azazel showed his might by easily defeating them. But due to Sabretooth's association with his former lover Mystique, Azazel agreed to assist the team. In order to send them to Hell, he killed Sabretooth, followed by his other teammates temporarily, as a part of his plan. Because of the self-healing powers of the Weapon X Force, Azazel froze their bodies in an alternate timeline, using his teleportation powers. He kept them dangling in an alternate space. Keeping their bodies in a momentary dormant state, Azazel transported their spirits to the corners of Hell to achieve their mission of William's cessation. Upon the completion of their mission, the Weapon X Force restored their health after returning to their individual bodies as soon as Azazel unfroze them. Azazel as an antagonist in The Amazing X-Men. In The Amazing X-Men, a set of 2 X-Men comic book series from Marvel Comics, Azazel set forward on his mission to rule all of the afterlife. In a ship full of demonic pirates, Azazel encouraged them to gain control of every soul in the afterlife. Upon the arrival of the mutant called Storm, Azazel battled her ferociously. After bringing him down, Azazel went in search for his son, Nightcrawler. Over time, Azazel was overthrown by his son Nightcrawler, accompanied by several Bamfs. Nightcrawler sacrificed his soul in his attempt to withdraw Azazel from the afterlife. Azazel was then captured and arrested by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Force, but was successfully rescued by Mystique shortly after. Azazel joined the House of X. In 2019, with writer Jonathan Hickman's vision of the independent mutant nation, the island of Krakoa, a safe abode for mutants came into existence. Moira McTaggart, a mutant possessing the power of resurrection, with the help of leaders like Charles Xavier and Magneto, established Krakoa as a safe refuge for the mutant race, who developed the ability to bring back dead mutants to life. In due course of time, Azazel was welcomed to the New Mutant Code of Krakoa. He entered the place through a connecting portal. Shaking hands with the other evil mutants, Azazel resolved to the whole restoration of the mutant society termed mutantdom. Their common objective was to restart as a species unitedly. Different versions of Azazel. The Age of Apocalypse. In the timeline of the Age of Apocalypse, Azazel appeared as a member of the clan Aqaba. He got offered the position of the Minister of Death by Weapon Omega, who made him his trustworthy assistant. In this string of comics, he was portrayed as an Age of Apocalypse version of the mutant villain Azazel from the mainstream Marvel Universe, who had the exact same powerful abilities as his alternate version. Considered to be immortal, he had also mastered the skill of sword fighting. Zombie Marvel. In the comic book series named The Secret Wars, a celestial entity known as the Beyonder, who lived beyond the multiverse, sought to destroy the multiverse. After the multiverse crumbled due to countless incursions, Dr. Doom, a Marvel supervillain, built a planet from the residue of those damaged realities. He named the planet Battleworld, after constructing it with the stolen powers of the Beyonder. In the conglomeration of different realms, Azazel was shown in a zombified form. He used to dwell in the Deadlands, a territory situated outside the administration of the ruler Dr. Doom. His residence, called the Red Terror, depicted the leftovers of the alternate Earth 2149.
And I am not here to hurt you.
Breathe!
Azazel?
How powerful was Azazel? Azazel was gifted with the unique ability to determine a sinner by projecting the evil persona of an individual. Azazel's deadly attributes showcased him as a demon. Owing to his teleportation powers, Azazel could easily move across interdimensional time spans by opening portals. He also had the power to harness streams of immobilizing energy with good longevity to destroy his opponent. Azazel's physique was extremely sturdy, making him resilient to numerous physical injuries. He also could cure himself instantly due to his restorative healing properties. There has been shreds of evidence of the possibility of him being immortal. Considering the fact that a group of Neophem was mortal in nature, there was a possible theory of the potential of his immortality status. It had been rumored that he had been absorbing the essence of the Brimstone dimension during his entrapment period, and therefore Azazel had enlarged his lifespan. Owing to his high intellect, Azazel became very skillful in the difficult art of manipulation. All these terrific qualities gave him a prodigious amount of strength and made him tremendously powerful. But there was a singular factor that was keeping him from being invincible, and that was the fact that, irrespective of their healing factors, they were not resistant to every damage. Azazel, alongside all the rest of the Neophem group, was dreadfully affected by the blood of the angelic mutant tribe of Chiarafim. Even if exposed to the blood of any mutant related to the Chiarafim, terrible outcomes were imposed in their bodily operation. So, in a nutshell, this particular type of blood caused adverse reactions to their body, destroying their proper functionality of their life system.
Comrade.
Marvelous appearances of Azazel in other media. Films. X-Men First Class. Portrayed by Jason Fleming, Azazel appeared in the film X-Men First Class, where he assisted Sebastian Shaw. The Hellfire Club was a vicious group of evil mutants of the Marvel Universe who desired to overpower the country they resided in by using their magical powers, and Azazel, a prominent member of the club, was amongst the deadliest of his club members, and he served Sebastian Shaw, the leader of the club. Division X, which played the pivot behind the formation of the X-Men, was initially a confidential CIA department run by the Man in Black. formed back in 1962. In their attempt to take down Sebastian, they employed mutants, but the Man in Black, alongside the rest of the CIA agents, got killed by the hands of Azazel on the power base of Division X. The Cuban Missile Crisis of the Cold War between the United States of America and the Soviet Union was engineered by Sebastian Shaw on Earth 1005. To establish the dominance of the mutants, he aimed to stage a nuclear war on Earth. Azazel almost initiated a full-blown nuclear war after a Soviet merchantman was taken hostage by him. Upon Sean's death, the Hellfire Club, including Azazel, joined forces with another group of mutants dedicated to the cause of mutant superiority over humans. He became one of the founding members of the Brotherhood of Mutants, under Magneto's guidance.
Allo? General Army Volkov.
X-Men Days of Future Past. In the film X-Men Days of Future Past, Azazel was held captive and tortured by the CEO of Trask Industries, Bolvar Trask, and Project Wide Awake. They conducted a series of experiments on him, along with other captured mutants. Project Wide Awake was a group that believed mutants to be outcasts and a threat to mankind. Eventually, Azazel got engaged in a gunfight with them. During the onslaught, while Azazel was sleeping, the agents of Project Wide Awake murdered him in an ambush. And as a part of the Sentinels program, which killed mutants using robotic weapons, Azazel's body was necropsied by Trask Industries. Marvel's verdict. Despite his death, due to the experiments conducted on him by Trask Industries, there is a booming chance of his comeback in the future because of the possible chance of his immortality. A good prospect of his return could be seen in the upcoming Marvel multiverse storylines, delving into the unexplored bonds with the numerous mutant children he had fathered during the Draco timeline. Though Azazel could recover incredibly quickly, facilitated by his restorative metabolism, the extent of his powers was not at its peak. It was seen that he was not able to heal from scars that were left behind on his face. If this certainly noticeable fact is taken into account, this leaves us with an even chance of his revival, and we are more than excited to find out what is awaiting us in the near future. What are your thoughts on Azazel? Let us know in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, have a good one and be safe.